Hello everyone, welcome to day 2 of level 1. Okay, so I just quickly check the audio and I think that you can hear me nice and clear. I'm Isabella and today I'll be your instructor. So to continue with yesterday session, I hope that the level 1 participant from yesterday have already practiced the brain cell activation formula. And so if you have anything that you'd like to share, then you can very quickly just pop that in the chat box of this live stream, either on Facebook or YouTube. And so today we're going to dive into very similar topics, but we're going to explore a little bit more. And I'll certainly give you some more examples so that we can understand about the core elements of energy better and how this energy operates, as well as how to make the most out of this method, which is, of course, I assume that is going to be everyone's goals when you come into this method. Now, just to remind everyone that level 1 consists of 2 sessions. So if you have participated on one from yesterday, that's excellent. So today is the second session, but if for some reason you miss out on yesterday's session, you can still tune in to today's content, but certainly you would need to wait for the next level 1 to participate again, so that you can receive both of the energy activation to actually use the level 1 formula set. So yesterday I activated you for the brain cell frequency, and then today I will activate you for the stem cells. So they are very different activation, and so that's why you are required to participate in both sessions. Now, if you happen to rewatch a previous class video, you can certainly revise the content. You can refresh your recollection if you would like to. But when it comes to the actual activation, you need to do it in real time. And so that's something to note. Okay, so first of all, just like yesterday, I like to transmit healing energy support to everyone before we start so that you can all focus and you're in the best state of mind as well to really focus on the content of today's class and to just so that if there's anything else, then of course you have that time to really return to a balanced state of mind, and just be very open about the topics that we're going to talk about, and hopefully remember all of these really important information that can help you to build a strong foundation for your learning when you come into this method. Okay, so I will set my timer to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's how long we're going to receive these healing energy transmission. And basically what you will do is you will look at my forehead, you will visualize energy going from my forehead into yours, and you will basically keep it like that and let it absorb throughout your body. If it flows throughout your body, that's fine as well. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So let's get started. Okay, so we have completed the healing support. Okay, so I hope that everyone's now really clear, really fresh, so that we can start this class. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the 5 forms of love. Remember that this is a core elements of energy is really, really important. Even if you get to level 5, we will continue to remind you constantly about this core elements, which is basically this is the things that you need to have in order for you to connect to the energy source that we're interested in. So now that we're at level 1, we wish that you would really consider, really find a way to practice the first 2 forms of love and try to refine it as you go. Once we got connected to this energy, it's really important for us to ask ourselves, how can we maintain it? It's not just about having it and then stop having it, but it's more so about having it and then knowing how to maintain it as you continue on with this method. So with the 5 forms of love, the point is, of course, moving gradually to the 5th forms of love. And when we start with self-love, it doesn't mean that we're being selfish. It doesn't mean that we only have, regards for ourselves, but it's more so that we understand the things that we need to do and we have a strong mindset. We have a strong understanding of why we do the things that we do so that we can then extend that love, not just for ourselves, but then to a larger circle. So the immediate circle is, of course, our family. And then from there, we get to extend it to a bigger community. So, of course, all of us, we are either a son or a daughter, and we could be a parent, we could be a wife or husband, etc. And we all belong to a family, okay? And that family, a lot of the time, we want to build it with happiness. We want to have harmony. We want to have empathy and understanding in a family. That's something that we often want to have, but a lot of us struggle to get to that state. But remember that it's not about asking other people to change. When you come into the method of energy, what we encourage you to do is actually changing yourself so that you can inspire and motivate others, hopefully, to change after they observe the changes that you are able to make. And so it's not about forcing other people to change, it's actually working on a better version of ourselves by being actively loving and caring and expressing our moral values. So when you're in a negative state, right? So sorry, regarding the information that we give you, being in a positive state, it puts you into this frequency where you get to connect to this energy source better. But when you're in a negative state, then of course it's not going to be effective because it's very much like you're pressing the wrong number, the wrong phone number. So of course you won't get to the person on the other end of the line. And so that's why it's not just about having love, but it's also about maintaining this love, which equals to maintaining the energy connection. Okay. Now, a lot of the time we like to take shortcuts. Okay. That's the things about us that a lot of the time we want to be very successful in the things that we do. We want to accomplish many different things, but then we don't really have regards for other people. It's very much just about ourselves. And so this is when self-love comes in. And self-love, it's about understanding why is it that you should be a nice person who show kindness, who show love, who show care for other people. It's not about, you know, so it is not about only getting different things for yourself, but it is about knowing what you do, what you say, and how that can have an effect on other people. So, for example, lots of us oftentimes we'd like to take shortcuts. And by that, I mean we do certain things, we make certain decisions that are very questionable, but it gets us to where we need to be a little bit quicker, or so we think. And later on, we have no regards whatsoever for the consequences because we get to earn money a little bit quicker. We get to enjoy an opportunity a little bit, faster than usual. But of course, what goes around comes around, and we really need to look at the people around us and ask, why is it that some people are really happy, they ended up having a really good life, while others just don't have that? And so these relates greatly to attraction, and it relates greatly to people's different levels of energy connection as well. Okay. And so if you act with kindness, you act with love, then of course you will get that in return. It may not be of the same form, but it will certainly be something that is equally as good. So there's always reasons for things that are happening around us. There's no such thing as just a coincidence. There's no such thing as, someone being very lucky or keep, being very lucky for a very long time. That is because of things that they have done for others. And when we do something, here at energy, we suggest that you put humanity, that you prioritize humanity. So you do things that benefits humanity, and that would connects you to a pretty strong level of love, as well as really strong energy connection. Now, the things that many of us are pretty much interested in when we talk about energy is that it relates greatly to how it turns out in life. So, for example, there are many reasons as to why we are sick, or we have to deal with so many challenges in our life. But amongst those reasons, we need to understand that the majority of the time, it is due to this energy attraction. It is due to these energy credits that we're yet to have or yet to learn how to save. And so Mr. Lei will discuss this point more as you get to level 3. And of course, level 4 and 5, it will become very clear to you as to how we are going to do this. So, of course, with this energy source at this foundation level, we know that it has a great impact on our body because it upgrades the brain capacity, it upgrades the cells capacity. And only when the cells receive this energy and they're able to utilize it, that they would then can function in a way that they were designed to function. And that's why many participants coming into NLG, they experience rapid health improvements, and especially when they recognize the keys of energy, which are love and moral values. Whereas if you come into NLG and even when we present this information to you, but you think that you can just get the activation or you can just get the healing support from Mr. Lee, you can certainly do that. But then you will gain very little if you don't actually put in the effort to practice love and morality. Because these things very much like when you rely on other people, it's really other people's energy connection, and it won't last for very long. So the point here is to work on yourself, being a better version of yourself. So here at NLG, we break it down for you in the in the 5 forms of love. Let these elements guide you in the way that you speak and how you react to the things around you, how you face adversities, how you respond to people or situations that perhaps you disagree with or you dislike, so etc. And in case if you see really limited improvements, then try to explore why. Ask yourself, why is it that other people coming into NLG and they are able to flourish, but then in my case, I don't seem to improve, I don't seem to transform, I don't seem to see the things that have been talked about. And so the most common issues when people coming into this method and people ended up just asking why, and it is because of your frequency of your practice of love and morality. So the first step is to learn how to be loving, how to care for other people. And look, here at NLD, we don't put pressure on you to, let's say, to have to go out and do charity or have to volunteer for something. Okay, so that's not what we're saying. But when we say that you should be loving and expressing your moral values, it's in your everyday life kind of task. So, for example, you go to work, and at work there's a colleague that perhaps you are not too fond of, then when it comes to love and morality, it's in the way that you respond to that person. Let's say if you, meet them at work or you encounter them somewhere else, or you're discussing a point, but then you can't seem to agree on that point, then how are you going to react to that? So, those are very simple things that are very relevant to everyone's life. So we're not saying that you have to do the same thing in order to express love and morality. Instead, it is the things that you've already done. But look at how you can improve them as you go. Or for example, you haven't phone your family or you haven't met them for a while, then maybe arrange lunch or, have a family gathering or phone them, checking on them to see how they are and just catch up on, really good memories that you guys going to have. Or it could be with your partner. Okay, maybe that you guys have been very busy with work, with life, with your family life. But maybe, sometimes just stop a little and appreciate your partner and make sure that they know that. It could be in the, simplest forms. It could be in the forms of just showing affection in many different ways, or holding hands, or, telling them that you appreciate them and thank them for the things that they've done. So it is in the smallest thing that you are able to express your love and that you're not afraid to express your love. And, for some of us, depending on our background and culture, it may be a little bit novel to us in the sense that we verbalize our love and our moral values, but it's necessary for you when you come into this method. And for any of you, if you're wondering, why are we doing this? Because you might think that we have been doing pretty well up until now. The things that we're able to invent, the things that we're able to do for the world has been pretty good. Well, but if we have been, doing well and we have been doing things in the right way, if we've been able to expressing love in the way that we're supposed to, then why is it that the three challenges of conflicts, diseases, and poverty is still so relevant to our world right now? So really ask yourself that question. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, but it's actually good for you to put yourself in that space. This is a learning space. It can be vulnerable. It can be thought-provoking, but it's actually very worthwhile to ask that question. And to understand that we now have a solution, we have something that we can learn, that we can understand, that we can apply, and that we maintain, at least for the present, and for the near future, so that we can flourish, and also help our world flourish. So talking about the plus one, minus one frequency, right? Just talk about that a little bit. So of course, we know that frequency is based on love and morality. Now, if you notice, when we're happy, our body and our mind, as well as our stage of evolution, can also be in that frequency. Whereas when we're upset, when we're not happy with something, then of course, a lot of the time we lose our motivation to do things. We are probably, too upset to even maintain our daily routine. And so the plus one, minus one frequency, it's about being knowledgeable, right? It's about understanding what is it that you do and why you're doing it. So the plus one, minus one frequency is about understanding why is it that you should be loving, why is it that you should have moral values, and why you should express it on a daily basis to everything and everyone that you encounter. So when you're happy, when you're very positive, you can also attract very similar energy to come to you. And this energy attraction is something that you need to work on. It doesn't come to you naturally. It's not something that we initially equipped it with. It requires efforts and control and regulation, and particularly in this day and age where we are experiencing the world in the ways that we're experiencing it. Lots of challenges, lots of non-stop obstacles. But the important thing is to not let those things control you. And particularly now that we understand and that we know about this method, is actually just a reminder for everyone to really, work on this. So sharing again about the chicken and the egg, so that everyone would remember to practice this method with consistency. So of course, when you come into this method, you need to practice it correctly, the techniques, the practice duration, as well as the elements of love and morality. So in order to implement this method, we'd like to invite you to discover the principles that stimulates the brain as well. Now, scientists have been trying to explore this, but then basically trying to create a frequency that can stimulate the brain's potential, in other words, to work with cells in our body in more effective way, but then the outcomes still very limited. And that is because we know now it is because the energy frequency produced by technology or whatever it is that they've been using doesn't seem to have the same effect on the brain, or not the same, but expected effect on the brain. But we're able to use our mind and our thoughts to control and receive energy. Evidence in the exercise that we give you. Some of you during activation, you might feel a little headache, or when you practice this formula on your own, you would feel warmth down the entire spine, or you would actually feel that energy is sort of like a flow of energy throughout your body. And so it seems very easy, but of course it's something that you strictly need to regulate yourself to adhere to. And so the chicken and the eggs example certainly indicates that you need to meet these requirements. You need to make sure that you do it correctly. And of course, whenever you have question, reach out to us. It's always better to ask your question to clarify everything before you come into the practice. So on to the benefits of this energy. So many people actually experience health improvements as the first thing when they come into this method. And with that, then they get to increase their intelligence and wisdom energy, which, because we're trying to maximize the brain's function here, which improve wisdom. And then once we have that, of course, we're able to achieve maximum effectiveness at work, develop the highest career prospect, and from there, we're able to feel harmonized, feel loved and harmonize all relationship towards happiness. And then it has a deeper meaning as well, which Mr. Lay will certainly explain in high class level, where this energy basically through you, it will bring positive energy into the next life journey. Now, the thing is almost always, people often think that the things that they're doing is absolutely right and that it is absolutely better than others. But when we look at the outcomes of their action, we can then sort of evaluate whether that is true or not, right? By the scale in which what it is that they're doing can contribute to the wider community. And as we look at it over and over again, we consider all aspects of it, and we can agree that, whatever it is that we do, we need understanding, we need to have wisdom to enable the things that we want to do so that we can do everything with clarity. Now, even the best of us, we know probably about 10% of the brain. There's that remaining 90% that are yet to be explored. And yet that is, the brain is the most sophisticated things that we have. So whatever it is that we know about it now, as well as the energy that can have an impact on it, it's only a scratch on the surface. But with NLG, gradually as you continue to practice, you're able to utilize it and actively exploring and using the other 90%. So with the cosmic divine light, which is one of the logos that I showed you yesterday. So we know that the energy source that we're interested in derives from the cosmic divine light, which is an abundant resource for everyone. There's no limit to it. It doesn't matter how many people coming into energy before you. Don't think that you're new to energy, so probably this energy would finish very soon. That's not true. So even if other people coming into energy before you, but if they don't practice love and morality, still they would have very few benefits. Whereas if you come in, you learn about love, you learn about morality, and you decide that's the things that you want to stick with, that you want to practice, then of course you get to enjoy basically more benefits from NLG. And these can last us for a very long time, right? It's unlimited, and it's very much depends on how you perform in life, that is. So it's about how you react to things that are happening around you, how you treat your family, how you show love to yourself. And of course, as energy instructors, as well as, just energy participants in general, we don't go around judging you for your choices and the things that you do. You basically make your own decision. You know how you feel about things. I guess deep down, we can never pretend to ourselves. Even if we try to pretend up to other people, we can't pretend to ourselves, because if we don't like something or we struggling with something, then certainly we understand that and we know that to be true. So whatever it is that we present ourselves on the outside, that it's not true. And so Certainly, it's start with the smallest thing when it comes to expressing love. So, for example, let's say with self-love, right? Now, some people believe that they need to work really, really hard all year, probably not having enough sleep, and probably eating, unhealthy meals and things like that, just so that they can save up their money and then they would go on holidays later on as a treat for themselves. Now, lots of people think that's self-love, that's the best that they can do, but that's one way to interpret it. Now, when we talk about self-love here at NLG, is the things that we can do more immediately, things that are more present, more relevant to the present. So it's the things that many people believe to be very ordinary, but certainly will make a big difference. The big difference is for ourselves, and it is also for the cells in our bodies. So such as if you know that you need, let's say, 8 hours of sleep for your body to function properly, then have you been doing that? Okay. Or have you been skipping meals? Are you doing things that are damaging your body just because, let's say, it's trendy to do so, or just because you feel pressured to do so, right? So we need to start from there, and we really need to think about our daily routine as well. And of course, it also points to our ability to regulate our emotions. As I've said, understanding different emotions, appreciating positive and negative emotions, but have that ability to return to the +1 -1 frequency as quick as possible. And also understanding that when you're in a negative state of mind, that there's certainly a way out, but it's more so that you need to be the one who help yourself. It's not really other people who come in and help you with that. A lot of the time you're the only person who's there with you is yourself, as well as that ability for you to control your mind and your emotion. So make sure that you learn how to do that, and seeing the reason behind why you need to do that. And that is if you're interested to enjoy health benefits, if you're interested to have a happy family, then you need to consider love and morality as the core elements of everything that you do. Okay. So when you receive this energy, basically what it does, so if you look here, what it does is that it transfers the energy source to the nervous system and the entire body instantly. It affects 100% of the stem cells in our body to help our body develop. It supports physical health as well as intelligence, and it supports the superior evolution of consciousness as well. Okay. So you can just have a look here. Now, talking very briefly about this before we move on to the formulas. So there are lots of things that are unknown about the universe, and same thing about the brain. So there is similarity there. If you look at this, I guess some of the basic information when you try to compare the brain and the universe. Now, oftentimes though, our body, we often think of our body as a single matter, and that we're just by ourselves. But then, of course, inside our body, there's trillions of cells, and these cells possess their energy connection as well as their own wisdom. for them to work harmoniously together, right? Side by side and in just one body. So this means that there's an enormous community, or you can say network, that actively working inside your body. And these cells work together tirelessly. And so for the most part, I reckon that we often forget about this. We're not so mindful. And so a lot of the time we do things because we like it or because we have different purposes, right? But oftentimes we don't really think about ourselves. As in, like truly the cells in our body. And so we might do things, for example, having a eating habit or sleeping habit or something like that that really deal damage to the cells in our body, but then we are unaware or maybe we don't even care about it. And so that's where love is really, really lacking. Now, those who have not looked into this may not understand this concept, but these are very logical things. Basically, you don't take good care of yourself, but then most of the time we just talk about ourselves. We don't really understand what it is that the cells in our body needs, and what is it that our brain needs, and what the brain cells needs. And so a lot of us has reached to the point where we are basically burned out, after years and years of living in very specific way, having very specific habits. And so it is now time for us to connect ourselves to this energy source and make sure that the cells in our body also receive this energy so that they can get the support that they need. Okay, so now I will guide you through the formulas so that everyone can understand. Now, yesterday we talked about the brain cell activation frequency, okay, which we will no longer practice this one, everyone. So this is only for yesterday's as the exercise for you to experience energy, how to direct energy, understanding the energy formulas. But then after today, we will no longer practice this. So if you have this on your device, let's say your phone or your laptop, make sure that you delete it so that you don't accidentally practice it again. Instead, we will move on to other formulas. So the first one is the stem cell stimulation frequency formula. Now, remember that yesterday I activate you for the brain cell, and therefore we practice the brain cell frequency formula. But today, we will move on to the stem cells activation, which I will activate you later on. And so that's why we'll start moving to the stem cell stimulation frequency right now. So you can see here there are 4 steps, very similar to the brain cell activation. Okay, and just a reminder for everyone to really familiarize yourself with the ERC, which is the energy energy reception center. Okay, that's a mouthful. All right, and have a look at the notes here. So is it here that you need to practice when practicing, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. And with the practice duration from 8 to 12 years old, your practice duration will be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 13 to 18 years old, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Above 18 years old, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. All right. So have a look here. Basically, think about step 1 as like a request. Okay, so when it's the same as when you do something, you need to make sure that the first step is the right one so that you can continue on with the next step and be certain that it is exactly the things that you want to do. So it's also not just you, as I've just explained, it's also for the cells in your body as well. There's a lot of them, and there's a need for you to clarify what it is that you need them to do. And so these step one's really important. And so here it said receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1, frequency band, stem cell stimulation frequency. So remember I said yesterday that for all of these steps in a formula, you need to recite them silently in your head. So you read them silently in your head, that is. You don't mumble, you don't say them out loud, etc. Okay? So I thought I'll clarify that. And then step 2, receive energy into the brain. Now, as you recite that in your head, and then you recite receive first time, second time, and third time, you will receive energy, you visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. And please don't bother with, having to specify to yourself what the outer space look like, what colors, or how do you visualize that energy. Just visualize a flow of energy coming into your brain. Okay, there's no need to specify that, because then basically you'll get distracted. Now remember that between each time that you receive this energy, you need to wait for 3 to 5 seconds in between. It's just taking your time, as well as for those cells in your body, to taking their time, understanding exactly what is it that you wish to do. Step 3, send energy from the brain, okay, into the ERC. Send first time, second time, and third time. And so basically every time that you say send in your head, you would direct energy accordingly. So for example, in step 3 here, when you recite send, you visualize energy from space going down the ERC. Okay, and then when you say send second time, then energy from brain into the ERC. Okay, so on and so forth. Now, of course, you recite everything silently in your head. Okay, and so that's why it's easier for you to also use your thought to direct the flow of energy. And then step 4, continuously sending energy from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx, so to the tailbones here. Continuously support the energy, maintain warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. So basically, once you get to step 4, you stay there, right? Because it instructs you to send energy. Pay attention to these verbs, really, really important. And when it says continuously, it means you do it until your alarm rings. So you continue to visualize sending energy as instructed here. So it doesn't mean that you recite it once and then you just sit there and do nothing. Okay, because we have had participants who didn't really understand this. So I just like to clarify it so that everyone's clear about that, is that this step 4 here is an ongoing thing all the way until the alarm rings. And of course, practice duration here, depending on your age, 8 to 12 years old, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 13 to 18 years old, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Above 18 years old, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. And when you practice, of course, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. Now, the things about putting on a timer when you practice is that let's say you're above 18. When you practice, you put your timer to 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and then you press start, and then you begin from step 1. Okay, so we just make sure that I clarified that, and hopefully everyone's very clear. Okay. And by the time you get to this step 4, there is no need to sort of repeat it several times. Remember that you only recite it once. Okay. And then what you will do next is you will direct that energy. You will keep sending it from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Okay, so that's the things that you do. And of course, please do not go back to step 1. Okay, we've already done that. So for, in a practice session, you only go through the steps once. Okay, and you don't go back to the previous step unless you are distracted and then you think that you need to practice it again. Then of course you would restart again. And once you restart, you will restart from step 1. Okay, so I hope that has been very clear for you. The next one, this is self-healing frequency. Now, as the name suggests, this is the frequency that you will be using to give yourself healing support. Okay, so of course, then the practice duration still depends on your age. 8 to 12 years old, the practice duration will be 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 13 to 18 years old, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And above 18 years old, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, when you practice, keep your eyes open and direct energy accordingly. So step 1, think about this as a command. Okay, make sure that you understand exactly what it is that you're doing, and also for the cells in your body to know exactly what it is that you ask them to do. So step 1, receive cosmic divinized new era energy level 1 frequency band, self-healing frequency. Step 2, receive energy into the brain. That is, visualize energy from outer space entering the brain. Receive first time, receive second time, and receive third time. And of course, there's a 3 to 5 seconds delayed in between. And then step 3, send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time, send second time, send third time. And I know I'm going a little bit faster. That's because I'm trying to speed up for the sake of making sure that we have enough time to go through all of the formulas and all the notes and give you time to practice at the end. But otherwise, of course, you need to have 3 to 5 seconds of delay in between each time that you receive and each time that you send energy. And then step 4, continuously direct energy into the brain, that is from outer space to the brain, and transmit it into the ERC. Let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. So once again, this step 4 is an ongoing thing. It instructs you to continuously do it. You don't have to recite step 4 over and over again. More importantly, it's about how you direct this energy. And the energy direction is that you direct it into the brain and then you transmit it to the ERC. Okay, so that's how we would do it. That's pretty straightforward. Now this is direct healing frequency. Okay, so let's go through the notes first. So this is a formula that you can use on other people. Give them healing support. However, at level 1, we recommend that you keep it, you keep the support to the people in your family only, because of course we're trying to work with a smaller groups of people, and at level 1 your energy is not strong enough, okay, for you to participate in giving healing support to other people outside of your family. So let's start with yourself and your family first. So is it here, level 1 participants are not yet ready to support people with neurological diseases? Please keep that in mind. This is direct healing. Now, what it means by direct healing is that you need to be there with the person. Like you need to be physically there. with that person. You need to be present, with that person when you give them healing support. The reason is because you need to put your hands on the recipient's ERC. So this is the ERC here, right? That's where it's located. And this is the hand position that you will be placing on the recipient's ERC. So basically it's like this. Okay, so this is just a demonstration for you. And please only support your family members, your parents, your grandparents, your in-law, etc. Because you're in level 1. Okay, as you continue with high class levels, of course, we can extend that. But we'll talk about that when we get to level 2. Before supporting another person with serious illnesses, the transmitter, that's you, must feel warmth for 5 minutes and 30 seconds during the practice of stem cell stimulation formula. Now, it's not that let's say you want to give healing support for someone in your family, and then you sit down, you try to practice stem cell stimulation. Before that, I mean, you can do it, but when it comes to the warmth that you're supposed to experience when you practice stem cell stimulation, that should be in your everyday practice. So every day when you practice that formula, you need to feel that warmth, because that's an indication that you have enough energy, you receive enough energy, and you have that good connection for you to then reach out and help people with severe diseases. Okay, but in this case, it's mostly for the people in your family. And of course, you need to maintain that warmth throughout the practice every time that you practice the stem cell stimulation formula. Now, another way in which, because I've already mentioned yesterday that some people's sensor system is not very good, and for that reason, they can't really feel that warmth. And so the other elements that you can look for, it's health improvements. So after you join NLG, if your health has improved tremendously, and you're able to give yourself healing support every day and feeling great, and the changes that you experience very observable, it is very clear, then that is basically very similar to feeling that warmth when you practice. Okay, just a heads up about that, because a lot of the time people's sensory system are not very sensitive to that warmth, right? Sometimes you feel it, but it's very mild. And so what you'll be looking at, it's also your health improvements. Now, while you perform this formula, the transmitter and the recipient keep their eyes open and maintain a state of mindfulness. The recipient visualizes the ailing area, and if there's many, then just focus on the ERC and the entire spine. So that's something that you need to inform your recipient. Tell them that that is how they will visualize, when they receive energy from you. So they also have a role to play, whereas for you as the transmitter, you will do the things that are instructed here in this formula. So the practice duration you can see there, that actually depends on the recipient's age, not your age anymore, because this formula you'll be using for other people. So it will be according to other people's age. So 0 to 3 years old children, you will practice this formula to them for 30 seconds to 1 minute, a very short amount of time. 4 to 7 years old, 1 minute and 30 seconds of healing support. 8 to 12 years old recipient, they will receive these support for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 13 to 18 years old, that will be 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And for recipients who are above 18 years old, that will be 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay. Now, of course, for all of these age group, when you give them the support, you will start your timer and then you begin from step 1. The only exception is the 0 to 3 years old group, because you can see here that you only practice this formula on them for 30 seconds or 1 minute. And so what you can do, because you don't have a lot of time, so you will start step 1 first, and then step 2 without the timer. Okay, and then as you get to step 3, you will then start your timer from there, and then you continue on so that you actually have time to send energy to the recipients. Okay. And also in the case where you have children, very young children, and they're running around, or children's often time very active, and it can be a little bit challenging for them to sit down for you to transmit energy to them. That's okay. What you can do is you can transmit energy to your kids when they're asleep. Okay, so that they can still receive that energy when they're asleep. Children's are pretty amazing. One thing about them is that when they receive energy, if they have received enough, their system would just sort of stop receiving the energy. And so that's something really, really amazing about children. Oftentimes they're doing pretty well, and they can be very sensitive as well to this energy. Okay, and it's very, very great for people to transmit energy for the kids. Of course, there's that loving connection, as well as children's are just really amazing when it comes to receiving energy. So step 1, receive cosmic divine light, new era energy level 1 frequency band, direct healing frequency. So you recite that in your head. And then of course for 2, 3, and 4, of course you recite everything in your head as well. Step 2, receive energy into the brain of the transmitter. So that is your brain. Okay. Receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. And then step 3, send energy from the brain of the transmitter, so that's your brain, into the recipient's ERC. So remember that you'll be sitting down, facing the recipient's ERC like this, okay? And so you will visualize energy from your brain to the person's ERC right here. Send first time, send second time, send third time. Okay. And then step 4, the transmitter continuously transmit energy from the brain of the transmitter into the recipient's ERC. Let the warmth of energy spreads on its own until alarm rings. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Now, some tips for you is when you place your hands on the person's ERC, let's say you're transmitting energy to someone who is above 18 years old, so the time would be 5 minutes and 30 seconds. What you could do is don't apply too much pressure, on the person's ERC, because what happened is that later on your arms would be really sore because you're basically placing it at a certain sort of position. So when you hold it like that, it can be quite sore afterwards. And also if you apply too much pressure, the persons would not feel very comfortable at all. So the tip is to maintain a comfortable distance between you and the recipient. Let's say you're sitting at the similar height or something like that, making sure that you're really, really comfortable, because it's going to be 5 minutes and 30 seconds for recipient who are above 18 years old. And it doesn't mean that you can only assist your family members when they are sick. You can certainly talk to them about this, and if they are available and if they wish for you to transmit energy to them, then you can do that every single day. Okay, and that would help them to improve their health and also try to minimize possible health challenges. And also remember to focus for the entire duration, because even if your timer it's on, even if you're sitting there transmitting energy to a person, but your mind starts to wanders off, of course, that won't be effective. Okay. Now onto the notes here. So there are two formulas that as level 1 participants, you are recommended to practice every day. They are the stem cell stimulation formula and the self-healing. Okay, so these twos are the ones that you will be practicing for yourself. Now you can practice continuously or you can practice 1 or 2 hours apart. That's totally up to you and your schedule. Level 1 participants have received 2 activations, so the brain cell and the stem cells activation can practice level 1 formulas, and only when they receive both activations that they're able to do so. Whereas if you miss out on one of the activation, please wait for the next level 1, okay, so that you can receive both of the activations before you come into practice. Direct healing formula can be used to support family members as needed. And it's actually really, really good, particularly if you have children as well, to just support them, give them a little bit of support every day is really good. It's not just for their health, but it's also for their wisdom energy as well, for their intelligence. When practice, maintain self-awareness for 5 minutes and 30 seconds and relax your mind. If you are distracted for more than 30 seconds, don't count that, okay? What you would do is that you reset the timer and you start again. Choose a quiet place to practice. Keep your eyes open the whole time, but of course you can blink. You can find a focus object or a focus point. You might look at the wall or something like that, or you look at a particular thing, trying to focus while you open your eyes. Avoid using fan or AC, so that you can actually feel the warmth during practice. You can sit in a room with AC, probably. Not too cold though. And certainly don't sit in front of a fan. Don't sit right in front of an AC. Please practice the formulas as instructed correctly and daily. And of course, maintain moral ethics, 5 forms of love, and the state of +1 -1 to achieve desired outcomes. Now, something I'd like to elaborate on why we should open your eyes. I mean, this is just one of the reasons, which is a really important reason, is that Mr. Leo often say that when you open your eyes, basically you can hear everything, you can look at everything, but the point is that you have that determination and you're very clear in terms of what it is that you're doing. So let's say when you practice, you know that you're practicing. So you won't let anything else in the environment to in the immediate surrounding or environment to affect you. So that's something that to keep in mind. Okay. Some more notes here. For the stem cell stimulation formula, when you practice this formula for the first time and the entire spine feels warm continuously for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, then you only need to practice this once a day. Okay. Whereas if you practice it for the first time, but then the whole spine doesn't feel warm for some reason, or maybe you only feel warmth in parts, maybe the top part and the bottom parts, but not the middle parts, or maybe not the top parts, or maybe it's just slightly warm, and you don't feel it very clearly, then you can practice it for the second time and a third time. So maximum 3 times a day, everyone, for the stem cell stimulation formula. You can practice it continuously in a row, or you can practice it 1 or 2 hours apart. That totally depends on you and your schedule. And then for the self-healing, you should practice this formula at least 6 hours before bed, because late practice can lead to excess energy, causing difficulty sleeping, as we already know. And so if you do experience some sleeping difficulties because you accidentally practice a little bit too close to bedtime, then remember that breathing techniques that I talked about yesterday. So you breathe in through the nose, 3 seconds, and then you breathe out through the mouth for 6 seconds. So short inhale, long exhale. And you do that 3 times. And then you wait for 5 minutes. And then if you still can't sleep, you practice it again, right? As in that the breathing techniques. And then you wait for 5 minutes. And if you can't sleep still, you do another session. Usually people would be able to sleep after the first or the second session. If people ended up not being able to sleep, what they report to us is that the next day they don't feel tired because they're still, having lots and lots of energy, and so it keeps them awake. But it's not something that bothers them too much. So that's just a tip for you. So with a self-healing formula, healthy or mildly ill people need to practice self-healing once a day. In case of severe disease, you can practice it twice a day. For support healing on the same person or receiving energy from another person needs to be spaced from 6 to 8 hours. In case of emergency, let's say fatigue, discomfort, or you want to faint, you can practice self-healing right away. And there's no need to wait for 6 hours. So really keep that in mind. Now, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on the second point here, where it said for support healing on the same person or receive energy from another person need to be spaced out. That means that, so basically when you practice self-healing and then you want to receive healing support, let's say from Mr. Lay, from the daily live stream, or you know another energy participant who you would like to ask for healing support from them. Now, they are all healing frequency. So what you need to do is you need to work out a schedule for yourself. Let's say you want to practice for yourself in the morning. Then you need to space it out at least 6 hours until you can receive another healing healing support session, either from someone else or from Mr. Lay, or you would like to do another self-healing if needed. Okay, so that's something for you to note, and certainly just work out your own schedule. Okay. All right. Now, what I'll do now is I will activate you for the stem cells activation. So this is the second activation that we have been talking about. And just before we do that, I'd like to remind everyone about the need to upgrade your practice of love and moral quality as you go. It's really necessary to match your level of love and morality with your energy class level. Okay, the ones that you've been activated. It's really, really important. That's why a lot of people come into energy and they get to achieve amazing results. And that's also the reason why, a lot of people coming into an energy, maybe not paying very much attention and, miss out on that, or maybe they just don't want to put in the effort to actively practice love and morality, and as a result, they achieve very limited results. And so there needs to be a constant upgrade, everyone. Okay, so now I would like to show you a demonstration video of how to receive these stem cells energy activation, just so everything is really clear. Okay, so basically what you would do is, of course, you will open your eyes, okay, while I will close my eyes. So you will look at me and you will, well, more so my forehead, and then you visualize energy from my forehead going into your brain 3 times. And so you kind of have to count here. So just receive first time, receive second time, receive third time. And then you direct energy from your brain down your spine, all the way down to the coccyx, the tailbones, 3 times. So from the brain down the spine, send first time, send second time, send third time. And then you continuously support the energy there at the entire spine. So basically you keep it there. Okay. Now I will show you this video so that we understand exactly what we're talking about. Okay, so visualize that this is you. Now what you need to do is basically you look at my forehead and then you visualize energy from my forehead going into your brain. First time, okay, second time, and third time. And then from your brain down your spine, first time, second time, and then third time. And then you keep the energy there. Okay. So we'll watch that one more time. Into the brain, 1, 2, 3. From the brain down the spine, 1, 2, 3. And then you keep it there. Okay, I'll just play this one more time so that it's very clear. Into the brain, 1, 2, 3. From the brain down the spine, 1, 2, 3. And then you keep it there at the entire spine. Continue to support it all the way until I say that it's finished. Okay. All right. All right, so I will set my timer to 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's how long we will go for this energy activation. And if during the activation you experience any technical issue, which hopefully that doesn't happen, but let's say that if you for some reason you experience that, then what you can do is keep receiving the energy, because I'm still sending it, like you know that I'm still sending out the energy activation. So just keep going as well. And then you can estimate the 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then you can come back in later on to listen to the rest of this class. Okay, so that is in the case where you have some technical issues. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. 1 minute and 30 seconds. This is stem cells activation for level 1 participant. Okay, now if you are in level 2, 3, 4, and 5, please look away. If you receive this, you will go back to level 1. Okay, so make sure we do the right thing. So this is strictly for level 1 participant. 1 minute and 30 seconds, stem cells activation. Let's get started. Okay, and we have completed the energy activation. Well, congratulations, everyone. Now, if you feel a little bit tense at your forehead or you have a mild headache, remember that short inhales and long exhale. You can do that now if you're experiencing a mild headache. But if you're having a mild headache, that means it's working. As in, the cells in your body actually receive this energy. And so to get rid of that headache, you just keep practicing the formulas. Okay. For some people, you might have that mild headache for, let's say, a couple of days. Some people, it only lasts for a couple of hours. Some people, it would just return to normal pretty quickly. Or some people, it even lasts for weeks. But it shouldn't bother you too much because it's only very, very mild. And it's actually, these cells are working to sort of match up with the energy frequency. So that should be fine. All right, so what we'll do now is we will practice the stem cells stimulation formula together. Okay, so this will be your first practice of this formula. So I'll share it on the screen. And then I would also play a demonstration audio for you so that you understand exactly how to practice it on your own. And if later on you need to sort of come in to listen to it again, so that you remember how to practice it, then you also have this. Okay, so I will turn off my camera for now. So let's practice this formula together. This is practice session for stem cell stimulation frequency. Timer 5 minutes and 30 seconds for participant above 18 years old. Step 1. Recite silently once. Receive Cosmic Divine New Era NOG Level 1 frequency band. Stem cell stimulation frequency. Step 2. Receive energy into the brain. Receive first time. Receive second time. Receive third time. Step 3. Send energy from the brain into the ERC. Send first time. Send second time. Send third time. Step 4. Continuously sending energy from the ERC down the entire spine to the coccyx. Continuously support the energy, maintain the warmth for the entire spine to stimulate stem cells until alarm rings. Okay, so we have completed the practice together. All right, so congratulations everyone on completing level 1. If you have received both of the activation, the one from yesterday and then one from today, and you have practiced the formulas, then congratulations. Now, just to recap a little bit, okay, so we certainly, hopefully by now that you have a better understanding of how energy operates. And so the core elements of energy that you need to remember include love, the 5 forms of love, and moral values. Okay, and it's not about just talking about these elements, but really remember to apply them in everyday life situation. So in the ways that you respond to other people, in the way that you respond to different situations, whether you like those people or situations or not, you shouldn't let those emotions control how you respond to them. Instead, you should hold on to love and morality and let these elements guide you in the way that you respond to these things. Now, one of the things that Vistali often like to say is that on this one hand, you have love, and then on this one hand, you have morality, and you hold on to them very tightly. Basically in your everyday life, in the ways that you treat other people, in the way that you treat yourself. So with that, we have concluded today's class. So thank you, everyone. Oh, actually, I'll very quickly share with you the QR code, just in case if anyone who missed out on this yesterday. You can scan this to get your formulas, and you can also ask your questions. Okay, let's see if there's any question. Okay, I don't see any question here. I feel like there's been a bit of confusion for people during today's class. Apparently people think that this is Vietnamese class, but it's not. The Vietnamese class is offered somewhere else. I'm not quite sure. Okay, anyway, so please join us here on Telegram. You can ask your question. You can get access to the formulas. And on behalf of all participants here today, I'd like to say thanks to our energy founders, Mr. Lei, and of course to the outer space civilization, giving us this opportunity to utilize this energy to flourish. And of course, a huge thank you to everyone working tirelessly behind the scene to produce this program, making it available for everyone. And of course, to all of the participants out there, enjoy the rest of your day. Keep in mind to practice your formulas as well as your 5 forms of love and morality. And hopefully we'll see you in level 2. Thank you, everyone, and bye-bye.